Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for tuning in again. It is Tuesday, the 8th of July, 2025. And yeah, here I am again in this week's podcast. I'm Sabine. And also, just to make a little introduction to my new website, which is sabinegarbauer111.com.au. So my name, sabinegarbauer111.com.au. And you can find some juicy materials there. You can book online readings with me, as well as astrological reports, and also tune into, like, and subscribe to my YouTube channel and other social media where I'm posting and sharing yeah, lots of information and more, much more to come. So I'll be doing some continuous recordings also outside of this podcast. And yeah, so watch the space. Thank you. And you can make donations as well through my website if you choose to, if you're feeling generous. All right, so we're looking at the week of Monday, the 7th of July till Sunday, the 13th of July. So we are in full swing into the second half of the year. And yeah, we got a lot on. A big thing is with today, actually, while I'm recording on this very day, Uranus just moved into Gemini, which is a big deal astrologically for humanity, for human consciousness, because this happens about every 84 years. So last time Uranus was in the sign of Gemini was in 1941 to 1949. Yes, there was a world war in that time, and there were also a lot of, yeah, revolutions, rebellions, innovations and changes around technology, communication, and yeah, some radical awakenings. And so I'll certainly be talking about Uranus a fair bit, and also over the next weeks and months, I will absolutely talk about Uranus in the sign of Gemini, which is a big, huge shift in consciousness. It is like the feeling of an instant liberation of, yeah, of our divine calling, of a deep individuation, because Uranus is the planet of individuation, of living our unique gifts while working within the mycelial network of all of humanity. And it's really, really exciting times. It also feels like in the sign of Gemini, things are speeding up because Gemini is ruled by Mercury, and Mercury is the fleet-footed messenger. And we really have to nurture our nervous system because both Uranus and Mercury, Gemini, rule our nervous system. So we could feel like an electrical charge, a fast moving forward, an urge to break free and away from the norm, from what we've been doing, what's no longer aligned. And with that, it's really important to regulate our nervous system, nurture it, and yeah, really make an effort in, yeah, for our health and well-being, because it can feel really electrically charged, the synapses, the yeah, there is quite a bit of a firing inside in our nervous system and how everything is linked. And so, yeah, that's a big thing here with Uranus. And also, yeah, Venus is in the sign of Gemini. She will be there until the 1st of July, as I said last week. So, yeah, we got a bit of mercurial action here. So, I'll be talking about that and talking about mercurial action. What's Mercury doing? Where is the trickster? Okay, Mercury here in the sign of Leo, 11 degrees, well and truly in Mercury retrograde shadow phase. Because, yes, 3 times a year we got Mercury going retrograde for 3 weeks at a time, plus 2 weeks shadow phase. Pre and 2 weeks shadow phase post Mercury retrograde. So, all together, it's a 7 week journey where the trickster, yeah, is taking us into our deep subconscious, into, because Mercury is the archetype that takes souls into their deep subconscious. We usually encounter Mercury when we're at a crossroads, and there's the reminder yes, it's an inward journey, it's a preparation phase, and we can already feel it because also the shadow phase, we can already feel, okay, maybe, yeah, we want to go more inwards. There is a pull towards preparing for something, but also what I love, it's gonna be, I personally, I really appreciate and honor Mercury retrogrades because it's a time where we can deep dive into materials, topics, themes that are sometimes when Mercury is direct, we may not allow the time or there is no window to do that. But when Mercury is retrograde, there is a depth of being. There is, excuse me, a deep acknowledgement of the mercurial archetype of our inner subconscious. And I feel this Mercury retrograde, I feel it's different. I feel it's very, there is great positivity to it. And especially Mercury in the sign of Leo. Mercury in Leo is warm. It's about, Mercury is about communications, about exchanges, ideas, anything very social, social media, how we share our ideas, what we are interested and excited in. Excuse me, I'm still at the end of this little cold thing. So Mercury is also a very enthusiastic communicator in the sign of Leo, very warm and driven, doesn't mind a bit of center stage. And I really feel like this window, so Mercury, and I will talk about that a lot more in following podcasts because we're not quite there yet, but we are in shadow phase. And then Mercury will go retrograde on the 20th of July, mark the date. And also leading up to that, the 18th, 19th of July, Mercury will be stationing. That's always a time where communication can be at a standstill. So, not being surprised if we are reaching out to someone, if we are trying to make connections and there isn't much happening with, especially in the sign of Leo, I feel, because it's such a hard energy. And and also it wants to be engaged, it wants to be playful. I feel like Mercury in Leo is very, very playful because Leo ruled by the sun, rules the fifth house of the zodiacal wheel. So we're looking at being childlike, being playful, being, that's our pleasure zone. We are having fun here. We want to also be very creative. So that's where I am really excited in because Mercury in Leo going retrograde and already this shadow phase. So, and also going back to the dates, 20th of July until the 12th of August. 20th of July till the 12th of August. That's when Mercury goes direct. On the 13th of August, Mercury will be direct. And then we have another 2 weeks of shadow phase where we are still visiting themes that we've been working through. And saying all of that in the sign of Leo, because Leo is super creative, choosy, wants to express through creativity. Also, there's sexuality in it as well, because the fifth house is about lovers, it's about romance. It's about creativity through that sexual tension as well. So we might be feeling a fair bit of that. There can be a bit of back and forth. But what I'm really excited about is that if we've been working on, or if we are aiming to work on a creative project, whatever that is, it's the perfect time to prepare for when we're launching, when things are gaining momentum again from mid of August, roughly 13th of August when Mercury goes direct. It's a great time until then. So it's a bit of a window about for 5 weeks that we can prepare, we can really immerse ourselves in that voluptuous juiciness of the Leo energy. We can also including like reading through materials, writing, setting ourselves up for presenting ourselves because Leo loves being center stage. It's all about putting ourselves out there. If we've been a bit hesitant, including myself, talking to myself a lot here, being hesitant, feeling a bit shy, being seen, being out in the world, now is a really good time to envision what is it that I want, what do I want to share, and start preparing. Also, a great time to declutter, to become more zen in general. Mercury retrogrades are really, really good for that. Also, maybe a holiday is in the cards as well. That sounds really good. Another way to express ourselves in different ways, change of scenery, movement. Mercury is about movement. And of course, with every Mercury retrograde, and we're not there yet until the 20th of July. But we also, of course, have all the mercurial things happening. Maybe we want to back up our computers, servicing our cars, because Mercury is about communication, transportation, moving from A to B, checking our itineraries, and at least being a bit flexible, because Mercury is really encouraging us. It's a mutable, ruling the mutable signs of Gemini and Virgo, encouraging us to be more malleable, be more flexible, take a chill pill, and not being hung up on any outcome, because usually during Mercury retrogrades there is various detours, and Mercury is the magician, and I feel like if we can allow the magic, that's the beauty of these times and the beauty in general of life. If we can be very, very present and only respond to what needs to be attended to in the moment rather than projecting out into the future, which is usually fear, anxiety driven, or expecting outcomes because it's been like that in the past. And so there's a fair bit to learn here as well. But in the sign of Leo, which is so playful, and also a great time to have various therapies, to connect with a holistic therapist or our favorite person that can help us to shift patterns, shifting subconscious patterns. And I have to think about a lot of the time, I'm thinking about the teachings, the work of Wilhelm Reich, an Austrian psychoanalyst, and he also developed the theory of the orgone energy. And why I'm saying that, also with working, having different therapies, because Mercury is also referred to as the psychopomp, the hypnotherapist. So there's great healing quality, healing of old stuck traumas, which Wilhelm Reich was working on something called body armoring. And yeah, working through patterns that are deeply stuck within our being due to former trauma, which affect our life force in general, which is the orgone energy, which is life force. And we can refer that to the cosmos and to also our humanness, our human setup. So wherever there is anything stuck within, it can manifest physically, mentally, emotionally. There is various ways, but I feel it's a great time to address those body armors that we have adapted because of early trauma. And yeah, Mercury is a great guide for us to go deep, and through the joy of the child, I feel we can break through and be more compassionate also with ourselves. And yeah. So I feel this upcoming Mercury retrograde and this shadow phase, we are revisiting themes around, yeah, around our creativity, maybe also relationships coming in here. And particularly, so it's interesting that, yes, so Mercury is a big player also over the next many weeks to come, going retrograde. And when we're looking at Mercury rules Virgo, which Mars, divine masculine, is in Virgo, and Mercury rules Gemini, which divine feminine, Venus is in Gemini. So again, I feel like, and Mercury Gemini is the sign in the tarot, the sign, the card of the lovers. It's about the paradox of relationships, of relating also to the cosmos, to be embodied, relating to earth energies, relating to partners, lovers, friends, where there is the paradox of being close, but also being separate, and the sense of separation. So Mercury is that archetype that reminds us of this human experience and also the wounding around feeling separate. So, yeah, I feel like that we have Venus and Mars, the inner masculine and feminine, as well as the outer masculine and feminine. No matter what sexual orientation or gender we are, it doesn't matter. It is about it's that balance of energies, and both being in a Mercury in ruled by Mercury ruled signs. It's very profound, I feel, and this is playing in to this retrograde as well. So there could be a bit of back and forth, maybe even in relationships or in our yeah, our conditioning, our conditioned early patterns around relationships, how we're relating, because Mercury Gemini rules the sibling relationship, our early peers, how we learn to relate. So there's a lot around that as well. So relationships, a hot topic. And talking about a hot topic, like only days ago, when was that? We had Venus crossing Uranus on the 4th of July. So that was kind of, maybe some of us have experienced some sudden, unexpected happenings. Venus and Uranus, very electrifying, sudden developments. Um, and it could have been very, very brief and momentarily. And so since then, things have moved on, and let's go and have a look at Uranus in the sign of Gemini. This is huge, 84-year cycle. And unless you out there are listening and you are 84 years plus, you have not experienced Mercury, Uranus in the sign of Gemini. And for most of us, it's a one in a lifetime kind of change. And so we are getting this window of Mercury in Gemini up until, I think it was the 9th of November, 8th or 9th of November. And then Uranus will retrograde again. And so we're getting a taste of what Uranus in Gemini is going to be like for the next 7 years, when Uranus finally moves into the sign of Gemini and will stay there from April 2026. So, yeah, because Uranus will move retrograde and back into the early degrees, late degrees of Taurus. So I also want to read out of my book by Codex of the Soul by Ver and what he says about the transpersonalizing forces of Uranus. And this is Uranus speaking. I'm Uranus, oldest of the gods, Sky Father, infinite. And just when you think you can predict the pattern of the weather, I shall surprise you with the shock of mental storm, the electric charge, from which all ideas find their source. For my guise of Prometheus, I steal the fire from the gods to liberate humanity, to innovate technology. Through me, your mind ignites in epiphany. The lightning strike increases. The quotient of synchronicity, your the quotient, okay, the lightning strike increases the quotient of synchronicity. You transcend dimension in the sudden revelation. Now rebel, now revolt on your path of individuation. And I so love this because Uranus is the archetype of individuation, of liberation, rebellion, chaos, visionary innovations, technology, changes in communication, yes, technology, also learning, education, schooling. It's a radical energy, a creative epiphany. It's about the divine mind, intuition, innovation, eccentricity, inventiveness. So there is a lot over the next 7 years, which will, for our humanness, and socially, we will be going through massive changes with Uranus in the sign of Gemini, both being very fast moving, eccentric, electric, again, ruling the nervous system, being very, very yeah, alert or aware to remain in the body, being centered. It's also very youthful, defiance of authority, intellectual brilliance. And yes, there will be, I feel, a lot of rebellion and revolution because Uranus is questioning authority. It doesn't take rules for rules' sake because Uranus is a free thinker. And in Gemini, also there's a youthfulness to it as well. Gemini is like forever, the forever child. And usually Gemini people, or people that have a lot of Gemini in their charts, they're very youthful. They look super young. Seems like these guys don't age. So good on you out there. Anyone that has, yeah, strong Gemini rising. And actually, yeah, I have friends that have a lot of Gemini in them, and there's this youthfulness. It's like, yes, they're adults and they're responsible, but they're just so young and always will be. And that's so cool. And I love that. And so yeah, it's this urge for instant liberation and also knowledge. It's a shaping of our human consciousness through revolutions, sudden changes. It's about radical awakenings. And because yeah, Uranus is the sky god spirit. Uranus is part of the bridge, the Chiron bridge between spirit and matter. We are bridging the gap of separation where we've been feeling we are outsiders, we don't belong. And Uranus has a lot to do with that sense of belonging. It's the In the tarot, Uranus is the Fool, the first card of the major arcana, where we go out into the world. We are in awe, we're in reverence of nature. We know that we are nature, we are following nature's principles, and there is this excitement, youthfulness through excitement, walking this primordial void, which the ancient called chaos, which has a different meaning because it's when nothing looked itself in the mirror. We are that purity. There's a certain purity and innocence to that quality of Uranus in Gemini. And I love that because we have a lot of that happening in our astrology, also with Mercury in the sign of Leo. Mercury is that innocence, I feel, and the purity of the heart in the sign of Leo, and also very social. So I feel there will be a lot of changes in social media, and we know, yes, AI and also health wise technologies to do with health and healing beds, and a lot of ancient ancient technologies that will be revealed again. So I feel it's a rebirthing or a remembering of ancient technologies that will come to the fore and will help us humanity in healing body, mind, spirit, helping Mother Earth, connecting, being deeply reverently engaged in this humanness. And I'm super excited about that. And so yeah, for 7 years, Uranus will be in the sign of Gemini, and we're already getting this window from today until early November. And then we have Uranus next year in the sign of Gemini from April onwards. And also, Uranus is also seen or considered as being in fall, as in the sign of Taurus. So that's also we are elevating. It's a sense of elevation. And I feel like with Uranus in Taurus since 2018, I think another 7 years, we had Uranus in Taurus. It was a lot of earth changes, moving through density, moving through that rigid, dense layers of that are no longer serving us, inner and outer. And also in Gemini, I feel it's an upliftment. We are becoming lighter. It's a great time. Also, it's very airy. Breath work is a really great tool to connect. Also, I feel that maybe we generally feel less hungry for earthly food. We can I feel nurture ourselves a lot more from cosmic ethereal energy, which, yeah, it doesn't mean we stop eating, but I feel there is something about that feeding, feeling fed and nourished through, yeah, that cosmic life force and that Reich called, yeah, orgone energy. And what else is here to say about Uranus? Yeah, and wherever we have Uranus in our natal chart, we could ask ourselves, in what realm am I weird, eccentric, or different? Where do I need to forge my own path and discover my uniqueness? In what realm may I experience unexpected changes or sudden shocks? So, wherever this Uranus is in our chart, and yeah, for example, so Uranus also rules the 11th house. And just for example, in my own personal chart, I have Uranus moving into Gemini in my 11th house, which is ruled by Uranus. So that's very nice, very future oriented. So when I look there, okay, where am I weird, eccentric, different, individuating? It's also the 11th house, for example, is about friendships, kindred spirits, it's future oriented. It's about yeah, the work we are doing with others, the creating networks. So for me, it looks like for the next 7 years, I will be rather social and doing weird shit. And yeah, very unique, individuating. So it looks like, yeah, I'm on a big individuation journey, which we all are with Uranus in Gemini, and also, of course, in our own natal setup, wherever we have Uranus, is that urge for liberation, that urge to bring spirit in and connect, bringing spirit and matter together and bringing the sacred into the mundane. So, really, really exciting times, and so much to talk about here. Also, what's really, really beautiful is this Uranus moving forwards in Gemini is coming immediately into a very benevolent dialogue with Pluto, transformation, equality, no more top down. We are meeting, yeah, the fall of authorities, of false authorities. There is also Pluto is in Aquarius, ruled by Uranus. We are very airy here, so there's really as a yeah, our society is changing big times, transforming through revolution, through our own unique ways of self-expression, which are through equality, which are through humanitarian purposes. And we are moving away from me versus the other, and it's all about me and my financial gains and whoever is still out there and pulling the strings and wanting to make more and more money driven upon greed. That's gonna be very, very challenged here, as Uranus is in a beautiful trine to Pluto, and Venus is as well right now, transforming relationships on a deep, deep level, being honest with ourselves. There's a deep honesty. Pluto takes us into our unconscious, into the underworld. There is no bullshit with Pluto, no new age spiritual bypassing, none of that. It's real, it's authentic, it's our own truth based upon, yeah, our loving essence and nothing less and nothing more. And also, this Uranus is in a sextile, which is also very benevolent with Saturn and Neptune, which is also that grounding of our spirituality coming into our body. And there's great, yeah, Neptune also just went retrograde, so there's a deep encounter with our spirituality, a higher learning. And Uranus being here in a sextile with Saturn and Neptune, it is really deeply, deeply transformational and very forward moving with Neptune and Saturn in the sign of Aries. It is about our will, how we assert ourselves through that beauty of self-responsibility and deep individuation. So really, really, really powerful. And I'm super excited. And I'm excited about the upcoming Mercury retrograde, even if it's sort of pooped out a bit by a lot of people and think, oh my God, Mercury retrograde changes are coming and we're going to lose keys and or misplace them or issues with cars and technology. And yes, all of that can happen. And I feel, yes, we can do a bit of prep work and update things and being aware, okay, also if we have to sign a contract over the next couple of weeks, yeah, maybe being a bit aware, okay, I'm gonna read through properly, and if I don't understand something, I put my hand up and ask and double check, and that's all cool. And there's nothing, I think, uh, it's always important to be open and receiving. We want to receive the mercurial energies of the magician, and yeah, so I feel there's so much positivity, and also with Jupiter being in the sign of Cancer, where Jupiter is exalted, and Jupiter will be there for what are we looking at? Many, many, many more months to come. Jupiter in the sign of Cancer. Anyway, let's have a quick look. So we're looking into June, July 2026. So about a year. And yeah, about a year's time here for Jupiter in the sign of its exaltation of Cancer, and the sun is still moving through Cancer, the nurturing we might be feeling, also a bit more internalized and looking for a space to take shelter, to feel safe and secure. And where I'm in the southern hemisphere, it's winter. We want to keep warm and cozy, and a lot of the beautiful Cancer energy that's connecting us deeply with our inner nature that wants to feel safe and also very gentle. And I feel it's really important that we have that spirit of gentleness with Venus, with the Sun and Jupiter, which is expanding our feelings, emotions, our deep inner world, and also connecting with that and allowing ourselves to be vulnerable. And yeah, so that's really, really powerful. And yeah, I think I'll leave it with that. So it's beautiful, powerful week. See what happens. Eccentrically, weirdly, let your freak flag fly high and be weird, because Uranus wants you to be unique and be a creator of your own, stemming, coming out of your own individuated self, which is so juicy, meeting people that are honest to themselves and follow their calling, often despite others raising their eyebrows and yeah, because Uranus is not particularly following the status quo, and I really like that. And yeah, also one thing I wanted to also look at the first degree of Gemini, where Uranus just moved in, out of my astrological mandala book by Dane Rudhyar. He talks about the first degree of Gemini, a glass-bottomed boat reveals undersea wonders within the relative security of a body. Anyway, it's about the revelation of unconscious energies and submerged psychic structures. The individual can become aware of the outside, meaning, which means the psychic depth below the normal level of consciousness. And that's also a beautiful, I love that so much too, because yeah, Uranus is spirit, is about our psychic abilities, channeling divine life force energy. And yeah, it's really happening. And also to announce something else. So stay tuned. There's also this Friday, I will have a beautiful conversation and interview with the founder of Green Clean Nature Harmony Stations, Australia and New Zealand, Brad Sparley. He is, yeah, a beautiful entrepreneur and founder of this non-for-profit organization. And yeah, he's big on developing, yeah, nature harmony stations based upon the principle of Wilhelm Reich, the orgone energy, and bringing greater balance and harmony to the land, to the spirits, the elemental beings, seen and unseen, and also, yeah, promoting healthy weather patterns and so much more. And what the orgone energy is all about, and how it works, what it is, and how it's connected for us human beings inside of us within our bodies for greater healing, balance, harmony, also greater sexual expression. That was also one of Reich's. Um, he was big on, he was a psychoanalyst as well, and big on, yeah, our how blockages in the body also hinder us from having a healthy sexual expression, and how this life force energy is channeled through the cosmos and through our human beings, through our form. More on that this Friday in a beautiful conversation with Brad Sparley. I can't wait. And another thing, I'm also will be, so yeah, stay tuned for my YouTube channel. I will also be connecting with international psychic Julie Lee in conversation, and we will merge astrology and tarot. And yeah, stay tuned. Bit of fun here all happening. Thank you so much for listening, and have a beautiful week. And as always, I love hearing from you how you're navigating through this most exciting humanness, and so much love. Thank you.